In the 1950s, the United States was terrified of a missile gap. The Soviets had launched Sputnik in 1957, and rumors flew that they had hundreds of ICBMs pointed at America. But the truth? The U.S. had no reliable way to see inside the closed Soviet Union. President Dwight D. Eisenhower rejected risky bomber overflights that could start a war. Instead, the CIA secretly developed the Lockheed U-2, nicknamed the Dragon Lady. This weird, glider-like jet could cruise at over 70,000 feet, way above Soviet fighters and most missiles. Equipped with powerful cameras, it could photograph military bases from the edge of space. From 1956 onward, U-2 pilots flew daring missions over Soviet territory from bases in Turkey and Pakistan. They brought back proof that the missile gap was mostly hype. The Soviets had far fewer missiles than claimed. But each flight was a huge risk. The Soviets were getting better at detecting and shooting them down. By early 1960, President Eisenhower had almost banned further flights. But one last big mission was approved before a major summit in Paris, a chance for real disarmament talks with Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev. May 1, 1960. Francis Gary Powers, a 30-year-old former Air Force pilot now working for the CIA, climbed into his U-2C at a secret base in Peshawar, Pakistan. This wasn't just any flight. Codenamed Grand Slam. It was the longest and deepest U-2 penetration ever planned. Nearly 3,000 miles across the entire width of the Soviet Union, photographing key missile sites like Baikonur Cosmodrome, Plesetsk, and plutonium facilities. The plane would exit and land in Bodo, Norway. Powers took off around 5:20 a.m. local time. He climbed to 70,000 plus feet, wearing a full-pressure suit. Everything looked good for the first few hours. But the Soviets were ready on high alert for May Day parades. Their radar picked up the intruder early. MiG fighters scrambled, but they couldn't reach the altitude. Then came the game-changer. The new S-75 surface-to-air missile. NATO called it the SA-2 guideline. Near Sverdlovsk, today's Yekaterinburg, a battery fired 1, 2, up to 14 missiles in total from multiple sites. One exploded close enough to shred the U-2's right wing. The fragile plane tumbled out of control. Powers fought to eject. The cockpit canopy blew off. At extreme altitude, his suit inflated. He barely managed to bail out around 34,000 feet as the plane spiraled down tail first. He parachuted safely, straight into the arms of Soviet locals and KGB agents. The Soviets recovered almost the entire plane, including the intact camera, undeveloped film showing Soviet bases, Powers' survival gear, a silenced pistol, gold coins, fake IDs, and even a suicide needle tipped with poison, which he never used. Khrushchev stayed silent at first. The U.S., thinking Powers was dead and the plane destroyed, stuck to the cover story. It was a NASA weather research plane that strayed off course over Turkey due to autopilot failure. Then, on May 7th, Khrushchev dropped the bomb. Powers was alive that he had confessed. The wreckage was displayed in Gorky Park. Photos of the film rolls were shown worldwide. The U.S. cover story collapsed. Eisenhower was furious, but had to admit it publicly on May 11th. Yes, it was a spy flight, but necessary because the Soviets refused open skies inspections. Powers was put on trial in Moscow in August 1960, a show trial broadcast live. He admitted espionage but said he was just following orders, sentenced to 10 years, 3 prison plus 7 hard labor. The real damage? The Paris summit collapsed before it began. Khrushchev stormed out, demanding an apology Eisenhower refused to give. Hopes for détente vanished. Tensions skyrocketed. The incident humiliated the U.S., boosted Khrushchev domestically, and accelerated the arms race. U-2 overflights ended. America rushed to develop spy satellites like Corona. Powers spent 21 months in Vladimir prison. Before a dramatic swap on February 10, 1962, traded for Soviet spy Rudolf Abel on the Glienicke Bridge in Berlin, the famous Bridge of Spies. If you enjoy the video, hit like and subscribe. Stay tuned, next video drops soon.